Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to FilmBuzz, where today we're talking about Mercy, the new 2026 sci-fi thriller starring Chris Pratt, Rebecca Ferguson, and a whole lot of AI courtroom tension. Now, before we dive in, I want to make something super clear. I'm not some longtime follower of the director's screen life style or his whole technology-driven storytelling thingy. I know Wanted, I know he likes his digital gimmicks, but that's about it. So everything you're about to hear is coming from the perspective of someone who walked into Mercy fresh, no expectations, no baggage, just reacting to what I saw on screen. And with that being said, the movie left me with a very specific kind of mixed feeling. So now without further ado, let's get into my spoiler-free thoughts on Mercy, a movie that has a killer premise, a strong cast, and yet somehow still manages to feel smaller than it should be, almost like a guilty pleasure of some sorts. The setup is honestly fantastic. We're in the near future Los Angeles where violent crime is out of control, and the justice system has basically outsourced life or death decisions to an AI judge named Maddox. Chris Pratt plays a detective Chris Raven, a guy who wakes up strapped to an execution chair, accused of murdering his wife, and is given 90 minutes to prove he didn't do it. On paper, that's an intriguing premise, high stakes, tight time limits, built-in tension, and the opening scene had me thinking, okay, this might actually go hard. But pretty quickly, the movie settles into this very confined, almost claustrophobic rhythm, and not always in a good way. Instead of feeling tense, it sometimes feels limited. Like the movie is boxed in by its own concept, literally. If you've seen the director's past work, you know he loves screens. Phone screens, body cams, drones, doorbell footage, and all that. And Mercy definitely leans into that aesthetic. Some of it works, the real-time tension, the constant data feeds, the way the AI judge pulls up evidence like it's browsing your entire digital life, it's unsettling in a very modern way. But the movie also feels visually repetitive. We spend a lot of time in one room, staring at Raven strapped to a chair, reacting to screens. And while the film tries to break things up with flashbacks and digital recreations, the scope still feels surprisingly small for a story set in a futuristic Los Angeles. It's not bad, it's just not as cinematic as the premise deserves. Chris Pratt actually surprised me here. He plays Raven as this broken, desperate, angry man who's trying to claw his way out of a situation he barely even understands. It's more dramatic than what we usually see from him, and he sells the panic and guilt pretty well. Rebecca Ferguson as Judge Maddox, she's easily the standout. Cold, unreadable, and terrifying in that the computer has already decided your fate kind of way. Her performance gives the movie a lot of weight. Kelly Reyes also brings some grounded energy as Raven's partner trying to help him from the outside. But the emotional connection? It's hit or miss. The movie wants you to feel the tragedy of Raven's marriage, the alcoholism, his guilt, but it doesn't always give you enough time or depth to fully latch onto it. Oh yeah, also this movie has issues, and not tiny ones either. The scope feels weirdly small. For a movie set in a futuristic crime-ridden Los Angeles, we barely get to see any of it. Most of the story happens in a singular room, through screens, or in quick flashbacks. It makes the world feel very underdeveloped. There's also a lot of repetitive visual structure. A lot of scenes boil down to Raven pleads, Maddox calculates, evidence pops up, rinse and repeat, you get the gist. It gets predictable pretty fast. There's also missed emotional opportunities. The movie tells us that Raven is broken, guilty, and traumatized, but it doesn't always show it in a way that hits emotionally. The movie is also very limited on its exploration of its best ideas that the movie's plot is centered around. The AI judge, the ethics of digital evidence, and the evasion of privacy, all of that is pretty fascinating, but the movie only scratches the surface. Also, the landing doesn't end pretty well either. Without spoiling anything, the final stretch feels rushed compared to the slow methodical build-up throughout the runtime of the movie. So wrapping up my thoughts, Mercy isn't a bad movie at all, it's just a frustrating one. The premise on its own is pretty strong, the performances are solid, and the tension is there. But the limited scope, repetitive structure, and underdeveloped emotional beats keep it from reaching its full potential. As someone coming in fresh, I walked out thinking, man, this could have been a great one. If I had to rate it, I'd give it a 6 out of 10, mostly for the performances and the core concept. But if you made it to the end of this video and want to see more honest reviews like this, breakdowns, and early reactions, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Drop your thoughts down in the comments, especially if you've seen Mercy, and as always guys and gals, take care.